When it comes to BTS, few friendships have captured the hearts of ARMY quite like the bond between Jungkook and Kim Taehyung, known affectionately as V. From their earliest trainee days to their meteoric rise as members of the world's biggest boy band, their relationship has been one of laughter, support, and unspoken brotherhood. The world first noticed their chemistry in the early years of BTS. Jungkook, the group's youngest member, often looked up to Taehyung, who, despite being just a year older, carried himself with warmth, eccentric charm, and a protective nature. Their interactions on stage, behind-the-scenes clips, and interviews showed a genuine closeness, one that fans described as soulmate-like. Taehyung often teased Jungkook, but behind the playful banter, there was a clear affection. Jungkook, meanwhile, showed his loyalty by supporting Taehyung in moments of pressure, often standing beside him when he felt vulnerable. This dynamic created countless memorable moments that ARMY has cherished for over a decade. Over the years, the Taikook bond became more than just friendship. It symbolized the strength and unity of BTS. Every time Jungkook and Taehyung shared a heartfelt glance, an embrace, or words of encouragement, fans felt a glimpse of their deep connection. It wasn't just about music anymore. It was about a family built on love, resilience, and trust. That is why, when Jungkook's emotional and tearful message to Taehyung was broadcast live, it shook ARMY to its core. It wasn't just words being exchanged between two friends. It was a raw, vulnerable moment that revealed the depth of their brotherhood. For months, fans had sensed a shift in the atmosphere around BTS. The members were navigating individual projects, mandatory military service schedules, and the immense pressure of carrying a legacy as one of the most influential groups in the world. ARMY often expressed concern, wondering how each member was coping with the weight of responsibility and the inevitable transitions that came with time. Jungkook, in particular, has always worn his heart on his sleeve, even when he tried to hide it behind smiles or lighthearted banter. Fans noticed his reflective tone during recent interviews. He often spoke about gratitude, love, and the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. Taehyung, too, had moments of deep reflection, sharing songs and personal messages that revealed his introspective side. It was during a special live broadcast that the moment unfolded. Fans had tuned in expecting casual conversations, perhaps stories from the members' daily lives, or lighthearted updates about upcoming projects. But instead, they witnessed a historic turning point, a moment that would be replayed millions of times, dissected endlessly on social media, and remembered as one of the most heartfelt exchanges between two BTS members. Jungkook's voice trembled from the very beginning. His eyes shimmered with unshed tears as he looked at Taehyung. It wasn't the kind of staged sentiment fans sometimes see in entertainment. It was raw, authentic, and painfully beautiful. He struggled to form words, pausing often as if trying to hold back overwhelming emotions. Taehyung, he began, his tone breaking ever so slightly. Even before he could continue, fans who were watching the live felt the weight of those two syllables. It was the sound of a younger brother addressing someone he admired, loved, and leaned on through years of shared struggles and victories. The silence between the words was as telling as the message itself. Taehyung didn't rush him, didn't interrupt. Instead, he simply looked at Jungkook with soft, encouraging eyes, the same way he had done countless times in the past. Their bond didn't need grand gestures. Sometimes, it was in the quiet moments of understanding where their closeness spoke the loudest. Then came the words that would ripple across the fandom and beyond. I don't think I've ever said this properly, but I want to thank you, Hyung, for being there for me when I felt lost, for making me laugh when I couldn't, and for reminding me that I'm never alone. You've been like a brother to me, more than I could ever ask for. As the words spilled out, Jungkook's tears finally escaped, tracing lines down his cheeks. His vulnerability struck a chord with ARMY around the globe. Fans cried with him, not just because of what he said, but because of what it meant. A reminder of the irreplaceable human connection at the heart of BTS's journey. Taehyung, visibly emotional but composed, reached out and placed a hand on Jungkook's shoulder. His response was brief but powerful. "You've always had me. always will. The broadcast wasn't just another update, it became a moment of history. Screenshots of Jungkook's tear-streaked face and Taehyung's gentle reassurance flooded every social media platform within minutes. Fans described it as the most vulnerable moment in BTS history and proof of the unshakable bond between Taehyung and Jungkook. The emotional buildup had finally led to a release that left millions of fans across the world sobbing, their hearts full yet aching at the same time. The moment Jungkook's tearful words reached the live stream, the BTS fandom, ARMY, exploded in an overwhelming wave of emotions. From Seoul to Sao Paulo, from New York to New Delhi, fans found themselves crying in front of their screens. Many described the feeling as if their own hearts had cracked open, echoing Jungkook's vulnerability. Within minutes, the hashtags Jungkook Tears, Taikook Moment, and We Cry With You JK began trending worldwide on Twitter, now X. In less than an hour, millions of posts poured in, making the live broadcast one of the most talked about events in BTS history. Fans shared clips, translations, and heartfelt reactions across every social platform. TikTok edits layered with emotional soundtracks, Instagram reels of Jungkook wiping his tears, and Tumblr essays analyzing every word he spoke. But beyond the online frenzy, ARMY's reactions were deeply personal. Some fans admitted that hearing Jungkook express gratitude and love to Taehyung reminded them of their own friendships and families. Messages like, "This made me call my best friend and tell them I love them," or "Jungkook's tears healed something in me I didn't know was broken," flooded fan forums. Others reflected on the broader meaning of the moment. BTS has always been more than just music to their fans. It's been a source of comfort, healing, and inspiration. Jungkook's openness showed ARMY that vulnerability is not weakness, but strength. His tears carried a message. Even global superstars who appear untouchable need love, reassurance, and brotherhood. ARMY gatherings, both virtual and in person, echoed with collective emotion. Fan bases organized online streaming parties to replay the moment together, crying and laughing in unison. In South Korea, cafes decorated with BTS merchandise set up viewing corners where fans watched the replay repeatedly, tissues in hand. Across the world, fan projects began overnight. Some groups announced plans to send letters and artworks to Jungkook and Taehyung as tokens of love and appreciation. The reaction wasn't just about Jungkook's tears, it was about the undeniable bond between him and Taehyung. Fans coined phrases like "Soul Brothers," "The Heart of BTS," and "Proof of Forever" to describe the duo's relationship. Every look, every pause, every shaky breath during that live stream was dissected, cherished, and immortalized in ARMY's collective memory. As one fan wrote, "The world stopped for me tonight. Watching Jungkook cry and tell Taehyung how much he means to him reminded me that love, whether between friends, family, or fandom, is what makes life worth living." This was no ordinary fan reaction. It was global, unified, and deeply human. In a time when many felt disconnected or isolated, Jungkook's vulnerability stitched hearts together across continents. ARMY didn't just watch, they felt. And in that shared experience, they found strength, love, and belonging. The meltdown wasn't chaos, it was healing. What began as a quiet, intimate live broadcast between two BTS members soon erupted into one of the largest social media storms of the year. The clip of Jungkook's trembling voice, tear-streaked face, and heartfelt words to Taehyung spread like wildfire across platforms. Within hours, the internet wasn't just buzzing, it was roaring. Twitter/X trends. On Twitter, now X, hashtags dominated the global trending chart for more than 24 hours. At its peak, Jungkook Tears accumulated over 15 million tweets in a single day, while Taikook Forever surpassed 8 million mentions. ARMYs from every continent translated the message into dozens of languages so that no fan would be left out of the experience. Even non-fans found the moment on their timelines, with many commenting things like, "I don't even follow BTS, but this is one of the most genuine, emotional things I've ever seen." This bond between them feels deeper than words. Respect. Celebrities and influencers outside the K-pop world also joined the conversation. A few Hollywood actors and global musicians reposted the clip.